Hey guys, welcome back to the Coach Spotlight powered by RockDaisy. I'm your host, Ron McKeefrey, and excited to have Brandon Herron with us. Brandon is the Director of Strength and Conditioning at Hewitt-Trussville in Alabama. He's heavily involved with the NHSCA and just had a ton of success there with that program. So, man, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. It's a pleasure and an honor to talk to you. Heavy pedigree with you, so it's good to talk to you.
Appreciate that, man. Well, let's start off. Let's kick off with, when you get done with a game on Friday night, going into Monday, like what is the data that you're looking at each week to kind of make sure that your guys are ready to go to attack the week?
Well, the first thing I do on Friday night with like football is I'll do all my GPS work and kind of get that set up and I'll send it out to, not all of our coaches get it, our coordinators get it, our inside line. Basically, it's kind of the ones that are interested in it, So I get that sent out immediately on Friday night. And then, a lot of times what we do is we lift on Sundays. So we'll come in, the kids are completely off on Saturday. They'll come in on Sunday. They'll have treatment before they come in. I'll communicate with a trainer. We're blessed to have a football-only trainer here, which is a big deal. He's actually free and comes in our lifts, every single lift that we have during the year. So return to play players and things like that, I got a lot of help with. It's been really good. He also programs our mobility work. So we'll have a discussion before they come in with anything that, any kids that got banged up or what have you. And then he'll tell me what they can and can't do. And then, if they're, for whatever reason, if there's a major injury, they'll kind of stay with him during that. Other than that, they come in and they're lifting. I will, at that point, I use some VBT. We use some jump units, and I can kind of get a feel for how they're feeling on Sunday. Wednesday's my big day to really determine how they're feeling physically. So, we'll sprint during the week so I can kind of get a feel for how they're feeling, with that. So, a lot of times it's jumps, it's kind of power outputs, and it's sprint numbers for me to know how they're feeling. And then our coaches are good enough. They'll listen to me some when I tell them, hey, Johnny's a little off right now.
Yeah.
So I've kind of earned that. It didn't just happen overnight, but our coaches are awesome.
Well, that's, I was just you led right perfectly into what I was going to say next. And that, the fact that you've coached at a high level in college as a position coach, and then you've taken that approach, that knowledge into the weight room and been able to educate coaches on both sides, right? Be able to speak both languages, I think is huge, and so using tools like RockDaisy, what was some of the pain points, that you had? You've been with RockDaisy for 3 years or so. I mean, early on with the software, but before that, going back to the days of Excel spreadsheets and Microsoft Word and everything, like what was the friction, the pain points there that made you go seeking a solution out?
Man, if I pulled up some of my old programs through Google Sheets and Excel right now, it is just like mind numbing. In one of my Google Sheets thing, I had it built out to where I could keep my jumps and my sprints and then my weight ring numbers and whatever, but you would have you could have like 40 something tabs on that thing, right? And so now I got to find that tab and then I got to manually input. And then even if you can find some ways to get input into it a little bit easier, whether that be copy and pasting or athletes doing it, it was very, very time consuming. You know what I'm saying? And then of course I get into RockDaisy, and of course, the first time you open it, you're like, whoa, like you just look at that first page and you're like, whoa. But then, the guys, Elvis and John and those guys did a great job of going, okay, listen, don't get overwhelmed. What is it that you want, you want to track right now? Okay, well, think about this dashboard and think about that dashboard. Don't try to use all of it at once. So what I started doing was I would just kind of play around with them when I had a few minutes. I would just open one and just see if it's something that I might want. If it is, I would save it and then kind of go. Now I've kind of got it tailored into what I want to look at and how I want to look at it. But it is I can't even tell you the amount of man hours that it saves just in data and those kind of things. So it's been a godsend for me.
I think one of the things you said there, I think is part of the benefit of RockDaisy is that they have all this input coming in to create these dashboards. And as they create solutions for different people, they're able to create some kind of out of the box templates to use for different programs. But that constant communication that you're talking about with the company to be able to tweak it, modify it, kind of dial in just specifically what you're looking for. That was always appealing to me, especially as somebody I know like yourself that has helped them develop some of those dashboards for other people to use. I think it's great that they just listen and and are able to take that into actionable advancements. One of the big advancements for you has been going into their workout builder. Why don't you go ahead and pull up one of your workout cards and just talk a little bit about like how that's been such a help to you in your programming?
I've said this, and I think I tweeted this out. Let me share right there. All right. There it is. All right. So I think I tweeted this out at one point that I'm an absolute idiot for not using this center. I knew it was developed. I was actually, using full scale Vitruve, I was just 100% in VBT, and my program was actually like borderline too simple. I was using Microsoft Word, and I didn't think that I necessarily needed a different way to deliver things, right? Because it was going okay, and I never really messed with the workout builder. And then I'm scaling it. I'm still using VBT, but I'm scaling back, and I was trying to figure out a different way for delivery. And I said, I need to look into the deal. And I called John and Elvis, and John walked me through this thing. And then I started messing with it, and I'm like, I am an absolute idiot for not using this. So right now, here's how we operate. I'm in what's called the weight room athlete station right now. And so if I just pull up this kid, and let's just say add his rack, I'm going to add another kid, and let's just go Isaiah. So these two kids work out together. I've got their workouts, and depending on what day they're in, if we're going on workout 1, they both click on workout 1, and I can add another athlete up here if I want to. I can take that athlete away. You can add up to 5 on that one screen, and it'll show on your iPad. And so now they've got this sitting at their iPad. And for Ben specifically, he's got we're doing some 5-3-1 work right now with some volume on top of it. So basically I'm going overhead press and bench press. So overhead press is for strength. We'll hit a plus set at the 78%. They're going 5 reps, and then they're going to go a plus set. So let's say at 78%, they're feeling good. They hit 8 reps right there. What they'll do at that point is they'll just track that top set. So they'll put in 8 reps at 125 pounds, and it's going to spit out another training max based on what they do. If this actually goes above their current training max, then you'll see a flag right there, okay? And it'll mean they've set a new high. The other good thing about this is the kid can literally go back and look at his last sets and his history and know what he's done. In my opinion, where this is going to come into major play is if we go away from a lift and then come back to it, right? So let's say you're deadlifting, you go into, like a sumo, and then you come back to the deadlift. The kid's going to be able to click on that and kind of see where he was, right? And then maybe even if you're not prescribing much or you prescribe percentages, he's going to be able to look and see what he had done prior to that, right?
Sure.
I'm doing I'll be honest with you, maybe the best thing that I've figured out with this deal is I'm doing the exact same thing with pull-ups or chin-ups. So we're doing, the thing about a weighted chin-up or a pull-up is always, how do I tell them how much load to put on? So I've done a lot of it as just a linear deal. When you can add 2.5 or 5 pounds, go ahead and do that. Well, here's the thing. All I did is and these two are both bigs. They're freshman bigs. They don't have a pull-up max yet. They're just trying to knock out pull-ups. But let's say if I pulled up one of my skill guys, they may pull 45 pounds on a 5 rep max on pull-ups. So they track that top set. And when they track that top set at 45, it's going to give them an estimated training max of maybe 55 or so, 60. So then you program 75%, they're going to have a number right there telling them exactly how much to do. No different than bench press. And so now I'm able to program that thing, right? And so they can just go through their lift. I got 5 sets of 10 here on bench press. When they go into their second day, those 2 lifts just flip. And so it's great. The great thing about this whole thing is that's just that part of it. If you're a training card person, you can pull up training cards. Okay. So if you apply that, training card's going to come up, and you can go to anybody on your roster. You can pull them up. You can print cards for them. Okay. On that workout, you can print individual cards. You can print a whole cycle on there. You can print one day. You can print a whole week. This is set up as 1 week. Then all you have to do, if you want to print cards for mass, that's it'll pull up all athletes in that entire thing, or you can print just one card. So if you're a training card person, you can do that. Then the third way is this. Let's say you don't have iPads, but you don't want to print sheets for everybody. If you go to the group workout board, this thing is absolute freaking gold. If you don't have iPads, and you don't really want to go through the pain of printing sheets. There's people that have upwards of 400 students, and you're talking
Yep.
about a lot of paper. You go to this, and depending on whatever, this is my softball program. Okay. If it tells them right here, you're projecting this on a projector, and it tells every person in there what to do on your percentages. So you're not necessarily having to use a page, and you don't have iPads. You can still tell every kid in the room what to put on the bar based on that. So I just think the thing is unbelievably friendly for what it is that you want to do. They've thought out all the different ways that people want to deliver programs, and they've done a great job with it, in my opinion.
I would echo that. I think, again, I mean, you and I are older, kind of about the same amount of time in the business. Like it's hard to go pure technology. It's hard to go pure iPad and those types of things. So the ability to print out workout cards and brand it and do those types of things, I think is big. And it just, it's meeting you where you're at. Like if you want to see it as a global like this, or you want to print it for individual, or you want to do a rack, or however you implement your program, you're not pigeonholed into a particular viewpoint, right?
Right.
I know with you, I mean, you guys have elite softball, you have elite football, where you're at. You also work with a variety of the other sports in kind of a classroom setting, and having to track things like attendance and stuff like that. I know you're using RockDaisy to kind of do some of that as well.
Yeah. So, couple of different ways. Let me go back in and share here this other screen. All right. So this is our attendance dashboard right here. And I just got it set for the last 2 weeks. The great thing about this is you can go back and you can go back as far as you have data on this, right? So you've got a freshman and he's now a senior. You can go back and look and see how many workouts he's ever made in his entire career at your place, right? So basically, the way this works, and the great thing about this is when they come in, all I do is simply enter the data. I have it set up 2 ways. My freshmen actually come in. I have them first thing in the morning. So as soon as they walk in, there's an iPad, and they check themselves in. So I pick up the iPad, I already know who's there, right? If one of them is not checked, and then I grab the iPad when we start the session, and then all of a sudden Johnny walks in, I know he's late, and I can mark him as late, right? Now, obviously, when they, you got an unexcused absent, and then you've also got your excused absence depending on, if they call you, they've got a doctor's appointment, this, that, and the other. The great thing about this, I'll be honest with you, the most important most important metric that I track is attendance. And it's for anybody, regardless of how old you are or whatever. But with these high school kids, if they just show up, they're going to get stronger, right? You get them off the couch and they're not eating Cheetos, we're getting somewhere, right? So attendance is literally the most important thing I think you can track. If you're here consistently, you're going to improve. And the other side of this is our coaches can use this as well, right? If Johnny's mom wants to come in and wonder, why he's not playing this, that, and the other. All the coach has to do is pull this up, and well, he's only been here 70% of his opportunities to be here, right? So to me, this is really, really good. And I'll also do a thing at the end of semesters where with our football team, if a kid had 100% attendance through every single opportunity, we give them a little prize of something, right? So whether we feed them something or whatever, we always come up with something to give them if they had 100% attendance. So that's a thing that I think is important. They're there every day. They're going to get better.
Yeah, and just, being able to communicate this to administration, I mean, when you turn it in class grades and all those types of things, especially when something's participation based, like weight training class or something like that, then it's a critical factor. How has Rock Daisy helped you overall with just communication with parents, with administration, with coaches?
Well, my coaches, I have some coaches that really, really, really like it. It all depends on the individual. I've got some coaches that spend a lot of time on this thing, like a whole bunch of time. And then I've got some that don't necessarily. And I'm still evolving this thing. I said earlier, I think I told you earlier, we've got a football only trainer, and I'm slowly getting him to where he's going to start using this for injuries. There's also a dashboard in there for asymmetries and those kind of things that we're going to get the PTs that we work with. They're going to put them through, functional movement screening, something, maybe identify some things with some certain kids. And our trainer actually does a lot of mobility work for us. It's freaking awesome for me. He programs it and he runs it. And I actually assist him with it, right? But he's going to know that, okay, Jim's got some shoulder mobility work that he needs to do extra of. Tammy's got some ankle issues she's got to deal with. And so we're able to, and that's inside of there, and we can actually go back and check and be able to use that thing. Also, if he's able to input injuries and those kind of things, it's going to be a little bit easier to communicate and know exactly where a kid is and his rehab and those kind of things, right? So it's all depending on the coaches and how much they'll use it. Some of them are a little intimidated by it. You know what I mean? Some of them are not. Our football head coach is big into data, like really big. He really enjoys looking at stuff like that. He spends quite a bit of time on those things.
You mentioned that, like some coaches are intimidated by it. I think, even, when you first get it and you turn it on and you see the different dashboards, you see all that, there's a little bit of that. Very easy to use once you get to using it. But for somebody that's just now planning on maybe getting, an AMS system or going with RockDaisy specifically, what advice would you give them on the front end to make that process as streamlined as possible?
Well, and I think kind of what I did was start playing around with a few. Just look at them and see, okay, do I see this being able to help me, right? And open a few of them. Look, there's a couple. These are some of the ones that I use the most outside of my attendance, and I have a body weight one that we use or whatever. The daily trend one is absolute gold, man. It is gold. Like you can keep up with a weekly basis, and where I use it a whole bunch is in our sprint work. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just say a 5 into 10 fly, you can literally see where the kid was last week, the week before that, the week before that, the week before that. And then you can see if they're progressing as they go up, depending on how you set the dates, right? And the other great thing about that one is, and I think I've shared it before, but it'll pop up green if they're exceeding their average, and it'll have a flag if they've set their best. That's one our coaches really, really like because it's really, really visually easy to deal with and see what's good, right? So you just kind of got to get in there and feel out the ones that you like and don't try to do everything all at once. The other thing about it is the great thing is me, the strength coach, what I can do to try not to overwhelm some of our coaches is you can share, because I'm admin, I can share what dashboards I want them to see.
Right.
Okay, so look, if I give them VBT stuff, their brains will explode, right? So I don't even give them that, right? I can include that in a KPI dashboard to where they can see power outputs or whatever, but they don't need to see the individual metrics behind all the VBT work, right? So I can share what I want or I think they may want to look at. and then that's all they see on their dashboard, where I have control of all of it.
Yeah, agreed. With so many different systems out there these days, right? What was the determining factor for you to go with RockDaisy versus some of the other
Well, just
solutions?
the headache of Google Sheets and, trying to build my own workout builder. And I'm a little older, man, you know what I'm saying? I do the best I can with technology, but, there were times on some of my Google Sheets where I have a formula that's literally 3 lines long. And it's just like, what? And you put one little symbol wrong, and
Right.
then you can't figure out what's going on, right? So it was a headache. I found myself wanting to do more, but I also wanted it easy. Does that make sense? And
Absolutely.
there's nothing easy when you have a 2 or 3 line formula in Google Sheets. And then you got to be careful of accidentally deleting something or whatever, right? And so I ended up talked with I can't even remember how I got on with Rock Daisy, but I talked with Chris and Elvis one time, and I was like, yes, I would love to demo this thing. And I started messing around with it. I'm like, this is it. This is it, right? So it's made an old head like me have being able to use technology, but at the same time, it's so freaking simple and you can't screw it up. You know what I mean? There's no deleting of things. You can accidentally screw something up. So
I agree with that 100%. And then you got the guys there to support you when things maybe, when you don't understand it maybe,
they're
and
the best.
they're
They
the
are the
best.
best. I mean, so whether you're buying equipment or whatever, customer service is number one. You want quality equipment of whatever you're buying or technology. You want quality there, but customer service is everything. And these guys are freaking on it, man. If you send them something, they're going to immediately get back to you and get the issue resolved. That's honestly is probably the best thing of the whole deal is just dealing with those guys.
Man, it's really cool. Like I said at the beginning, I mean, I think it's really cool that again, being an elite position coach, coordinator, and then taking that knowledge into the weight room and then being elite and using, and for guys our age to stay current with technology and be implementing that and to find products like Rock Daisy that can make it simple for others to understand and communicate what's in our brain to others. I have a lot of respect for that, man. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing with everybody.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on.
That was good, bud. Yeah.